I was slammed last week working to organize the longevity summit for TEDx that's coming right up. At that moment, I thought I was distraction-proof.
You have so many messages. Are you hearing me? Pay attention.
Until Instagram distracted me with news about another longevity summit close to me. Bryan Johnson's inaugural Don't Die Summit. And I thought, is this guy for real? Should I have invited him to give a TEDx talk, or are his doubters right about him?
And this is what I take on a daily basis of supplements. It's alphabetized, and we have a year's supply of everything we do.
It's generated a steady churn of shock headlines. He once injected himself with his son's plasma.
Who attends a conference like this? How much is real and how much is hype? I was too slammed to go, but I knew somebody who could. So I equipped her with my iPhone, knowing that she would find a way to get in everyone's face. Look out, world, here comes Michelle.
Bryan Johnson is a 47-year-old who's reversing his age. He's aging at a pace slower than that of an average 10-year-old. On fitness tests, he scores as an elite 18-year-old, scoring in the top 1% for cardiovascular health, muscle mass, bone mineral density, and many other clinical markers.
All the experts around you believe you now have the heart of a 37-year-old, the skin of a 28-year-old, the lung capacity and fitness of an 18-year-old, and the gum inflammation of a 17-year-old.
He's accomplished all this while being on caloric restriction, vegan by choice, and running multiple companies at once. And get this, Bryan didn't start out healthy. In fact, as an adult, he had over a decade of crippling suicidal depression and spent over 20 years running himself to the ground building his companies. How Bryan's turned back the clock is no secret. He's made his entire protocol called Blueprint available for free online. It's an ever-evolving experimental longevity regime. Bryan aims to make death optional for himself and others. The movement he's leading is called Don't Die. To find out more, we attended the first ever Don't Die Summit. Hey everyone, we're here at Bryan Johnson's Don't Die Summit. We have no idea what's gonna happen.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you all. Ready to get this dance party started?
Yeah!
Amazing. 7 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday. Look at this. Well, I'm excited. By the end of the day, we're gonna be friends and hugging. We'll be a new community doing epic things. So excited to see you all. Let's do it. Woo! Let's go.
We interviewed Bryan, his father, and his son, who follow his longevity protocol. We also interviewed fellow summit attendees. You'll see those interviews later in this video, which reveal surprising, exclusive information on how to live longer, better. The Don't Die movement seeks to make death optional, protect the planet, and figure out how to use AI for good. At the summit, Bryan said his goal is for 1 billion people to be in the movement by 2027. He spends $2 million annually on his Blueprint protocol. Bryan says people following his protocol would have to pay about $850 or less monthly. Most of that $2 million goes toward measuring himself so he can see whether his protocol works. He calls himself the world's most measured human. For years, his team of over 30 doctors has measured the biological age of over 78 of his organs. DunedinPACE is a DNA methylation marker for the pace of biological aging. As measured by DunedinPACE, Bryan's speed of aging is 0.64, which means he's aging 0.64 biological years for each one chronological year. That's less than the average rate of aging of a 10-year-old. It also means he ages 7.6 months for every 12 months of the year. He likes to joke that he gets November, October, and December every year for free. One of Bryan's doctors, who works with professional athletes, says that the level of recovery Bryan gets is unlike anything he's seen before. Bryan is obsessed with measurement because he says there's no other way to know if a protocol works. He also knows that he's just an N of 1. He says part of why he shares everything is that he welcomes others to hopefully beat his protocol.
It's extraordinarily hard, as a layperson, as a novice, to actually understand the science. As much as I've learned about this by hearing it day in and day out and living it day in and day out and seeing all my data and seeing the whole process, I still do not have the knowledge to be the authority on what to do and not to do. And it's why I created Blueprint, because if the anti-aging scientists can't agree among themselves, what does the average person like myself do? So the first step is to acknowledge we don't know. And to pretend like we know, we might get ourselves in trouble.
Blueprint's foundation is the longevity power laws, the 5 habits which lead to 80% of the results when it comes to longevity. For testing, Bryan recommends some routine measurements. For himself, he does full-body MRIs and ultrasounds. He's pushing the envelope on such technology. For example, he's backed a company called Ezra, which does full-body MRI scans at a fraction of the typical cost and time. Bryan also undergoes treatments like gene therapies and microneedling, but he steers clear of treatments that are purely cosmetic, like Botox. He injected 6 of his joints with over 300 million stem cells. Injecting just his knees cost $25,000. After the treatment, which involved a lot of needles in a lot of really uncomfortable places, he said that he felt like he'd been in a car crash, and he developed a full-body fever. But he felt extremely happy to be running the experiment, being with his team, advancing science.
It feels like I broke my shoulder. And what we're trying to show here is, can you actually rejuvenate the joints to a more youthful state in these kind of proactive measures? And it's expensive because it's new technology, but as it scales, it will become lower cost. And so if this can work and we can demonstrate that it is efficacious, then more people will do it, the costs go down.
Bryan's even done blood plasma transfusions with his father and son. He shares everything online, the good and the bad results. By receiving Bryan's blood plasma, his father seemed to slow his rate of aging by 25 years. But Bryan cautions that there's still much to understand about the treatment and its results. Bryan receiving his 17-year-old son's blood plasma didn't seem to have much of an effect. Diet-wise, Bryan is vegan, but Blueprint doesn't require a person be vegan.
I just say you do you. I do think that every day there's more evidence coming out suggesting plant-based diets are more conducive for longevity. So I think the evidence in time will speak for itself.
Foods he doesn't consume include sugar, alcohol, pasta, bread, many types of oil, fried food, and highly processed food. His first meal is at 6:45 a.m., and he stops eating by the late time of 11 a.m., since he finds that it tends to disturb his sleep if he eats later than that. He exercises for about 1 hour in the morning, will do his work throughout the day while making sure that he gets some physical movement in every 30 minutes, and then he goes to bed at the late time of 8 p.m. Bryan takes over 100 supplements daily. Yes, you heard that right. But he emphasizes that people on his protocol don't need to take all of those supplements to experience most of the benefits. He says most supplements and foods sold by companies are bogus, which is why he's gone through the trouble and spent tons of money to test them and source them himself. His whole protocol is open source. He shows all his suppliers, ingredients, and methods, and people are theoretically able to put together the products themselves. Bryan says his Blueprint company, which packages together the food and supplements he recommends, was formed to help make his protocol more accessible and affordable for people. He says his goal is not to strike a profit. In fact, his company runs on very slim margins and only makes a profit so it can sustain itself over time. He's aware of the misgivings about his movement. He sells his extra virgin olive oil as snake oil online. And it's $35 per bottle, which is a pretty penny, but he says it's the best out there. Now you know more about Bryan's work, let's take us back to the present. We were intrigued by the Don't Die Summit in San Francisco, the first of 10 Don't Die Summits to happen this year. What kind of people would be there? What would even happen? When we showed up at Pier 35, we seemed just as confused as the fellow hundreds of attendees. People had flown from all over the world for this conference. We met people from Ukraine, Colombia, Japan.
My name is Arturo and I'm from Mexico City.
My name is Diego Garrido. I'm here from Indonesia. I work in gene therapies and longevity biotech. So I'd heard about him sniffing around for one of the gene therapies in Honduras, which one of my friends runs.
2 of these people were filming for a German TV station.
I met Bryan 1.5 years ago, visited him and did an interview, and then I tried his program for 9 months, and today I want to show him the results. I lost like 12 kilograms. I feel much stronger and have more energy.
I'm Claudia Olvera and I live here in San Francisco. I heard about the summit because I had a consultation with a biohacker in Mexico.
What's your names?
Ingus, Larry.
Are you followers of Bryan Johnson and Blueprint?
Yes, it's been for a long time, been using some of his products.
Do you guys notice any benefits or changes?
Always, yes. You just feel there, I barely get sick. I don't know if that's all there or just the head, but there's something.
What are you most looking forward to today?
I just want to live longer and look good.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you all.
Ready for this dance party started?
Yeah!
Amazing. 7 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday. Look at this. Yeah, cool. Well, I'm excited by the end of the day. We're going to be friends and hugging. We'll be a new community doing epic things. So excited to see you all. Let's do it. Woo! Let's go.
Hey, let's go!
The summit began with a morning rave that offered extra virgin olive oil shots. After the rave, we had breakfast. All of the food came from Bryan's Blueprint products. Breakfast was his nutty pudding, extra virgin olive oil, aka snake oil, and pea and lentil mixes, along with some creatively named drinks.
Is it good? I actually really like it. I really do. You made this sound terrible. It actually tastes really good.
While eating breakfast, I ran into Bryan's dad, Richard Johnson, who Chris thinks is a Tim Walz lookalike. Do you agree?
My name's Rich Johnson. I'm Bryan's dad.
And you're saying that this nutty pudding tastes better than the one he typically gives you?
Yes. Yeah, this is unbelievably good. Like, I'm a nutty pudding guy from day one. So I've been through when we cooked it ourselves, we've been through this. This is spectacular.
Amazing. I know you got his blood plasma, but you guys stopped doing that.
Yeah, we only did one, but we've done 3 other therapies. I've done stem cell and other gene therapy with him. And I'm trying to get him to do plasma again. The problem is Bryan gets no benefit from getting plasma from Talmage or anybody else. He's at that level. I'm the only needy one, so I have to capture him, put him on a plane, and do it.
And what kind of benefits have you seen from those treatments?
I'm so glad that you say that. He really didn't say anything about the plasma, right? Because he just got Talmages, and those two are at such an elite level, Bryan didn't get it. I had about a week of fatigue. After that week, I actually measure how much I can lift, curls, everything else. I had astronomical growth, not like Superman, but huge, week by week. My endurance on the track, I fast walk, and sometimes I'll jog a little, which I measure every day. All of those increase progressively. And I have not seen any regression. I've been able to maintain that, which is crazy.
That's amazing. And how old are you?
I refuse to testify on the grounds that it will incriminate me. All right, I'll just tell you, I'm 71. And let me tell you, you're as old as you feel. I believe that. So I was going to say 39. The big thing is I have no aches and pains, no limitations in movement anywhere. And, aside from being uncoordinated, basically, I can do what I want.
You're great. You can dance.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Let's say I can move a joint, but I don't know if that's dancing.
What do you guys hope for these Don't Die Summits to become?
Bryan is so much more articulate than this, but what I believe is just a change in attitude. I practice law, and so if you were a colleague of mine and you told me that you slept 8 hours last night, I would look at you like, what the heck are you doing? You're going to get fired. The whole idea that sleep is important, it changes everything, doesn't it? It changes the workplace, what we credit, what we don't. That's just an indicator. If instead of pigging out on McDonald's at lunch, if you guys are the lead and say, no, I'm not going to put that crap in my body. I'm not going to pay that price. It's going to change. The idea that AI is going to be this massive machine that we all can have. It can be good and bad. Wouldn't it be better if we all agreed, had one agreement, let's just do things that we don't kill us, we don't kill the planet.
Lunch featured veggie bowls and chicken. We could also sample his longevity elixirs and protein powders throughout the day. I have to admit, most of the food was a little bit bland and the portions were kind of small. Maybe they were trying to promote longevity-enhancing caloric restriction in us. But overall, the food did seem really, really, really healthy. The media often shows sensationalist headlines about Bryan. Bryan has a sense of humor about it, saying he loves the haters.
Is this the dude that's obsessed with his son? Yes. So far, yes. And something to do with blood. Yes, my son's in a cage, 10 by 10. He gets out in the yard 50 minutes a day. I harvest his plasma. One good reason to have kids.
After breakfast, he had comedians from a group called the Tech Roast Show come up to roast him and make fun of audience members, who were willing, of course. He then gave a talk leading us through the philosophical ideas of Don't Die. During the summit, there was what they called an amusement park of vendors. People could get on-site blood, skin, breath, and hair testing, which would reveal to them a variety of things, such as the ages of their organs or their cancer risk. For instance, one company called Nucleus offered whole genome testing through just one cheek swab. A company called OneSkin offered a facial scanner that would allow people to find out the biological age of their skin. People waited in line for hours to get things like their metabolic health tested, and some paid hundreds of dollars for their tests. There were also product demos, such as of the PillBot, a robot capsule that people can wirelessly swallow, which can then go through their stomach, take a bunch of images, and do a bunch of diagnoses. These could possibly replace invasive endoscopies. People could also test their fitness and log it into a Don't Die app, which is still in beta. The app aims to form a community of people around Don't Die and allow them to positively motivate each other to become healthier by sharing their metrics such as sleep and exercise. Turns out, my friend Andrew has an insane grip strength of over 170 pounds. The person helping us test our grip strength was none other than Talmage Johnson, Bryan Johnson's son. He graciously agreed to be interviewed.
My name is Talmage Johnson. I'm the son of Bryan, and I'm doing everything I can to make his mission spread throughout the world.
And what's your biological age versus what you test as?
Chronologically, I'm 19 years old, and biologically, it's been a little while since I've tested my organs, but my current pace of aging is about 0.8, and I'm doing everything I can to reduce it. It's like a fun competition. My dad has a pace of aging of 0.64 right now, and it's friendly competition of like who can get lower.
A lot of people might think your dad forced this lifestyle upon you, but how do you feel about it?
When my dad first started in Blueprint 3 or 4 years ago, it was a pretty laissez-faire, hands-off thing, like Talmage, here's the project I'm doing. If you're into it, cool. If not, also cool. And so he let me do my thing. I saw the benefits that he was getting, and I wanted those same benefits. I can't look back on my previous life. I can't imagine living like I did previous to Blueprint.
Do you find that affects your social life? Do your friends get it? Do they think it's weird?
The biggest apprehensive thing people have is it conflicts with social norms. We see time and time again that social and cultural norms aren't necessarily truth, but they're just reflections of that time and place. And so there's a reality where you can get a group of people who are really into health, like this right now, and you would be considered an outcast if you weren't healthy. So it's really just trying to be someone who has these healthy habits. And like during school, I've tried to have these healthy habits. And I've had a couple friends who have started adopting healthier lifestyles. And of course it comes with hate, jokes, and everything. I love it all. It's just like humans being humans. But it's really just a social norm thing that's not permanent and can be changed.
Do you know what you want to do professionally?
That's the million-dollar question. It's very difficult to know what to do right now with the speed of technological progress in AI. I just finished my first year at school at the University of Chicago. School is going to provide me a very predictable, structured path. I know what class I'm going to take. I'm taking a gap year because with the gap year comes the unpredictable, and I want to see what else I can do in this space and create my own game.
Create your own games, like you want to do something as part of the Don't Die movement, or?
I'm really open to anything, but right now I see Don't Die. We've had over 50 Don't Die dinners where we go through the philosophical dialogue. It has been such a robust argument that very few people can listen to it thoroughly and then refute it in the end. And so it seems like the next movement, and it's in its infancy. And I want to hop on that train right now and do everything I can to make it something that everyone follows in the world.
What are your personal interests outside of Don't Die?
My dad does this too, but I like to read biographies of people throughout history who've done things that defy their time and place. One thing they all had in common is they just love devouring information, reading tons of books, learning from people. And I just like to consume any information I can get my hands on.
The afternoon was full of workshops and talks on science, longevity, and tech. Articles about this summit were quite critical, with headlines such as, California tech founders' vampiric SF event is a shameless cash grab. This article said, I couldn't help but feel like this gathering, and the companies behind it, were stuck in the shadow of Elizabeth Holmes' Theranos, the ghost of Silicon Valley's fraudulent past. I have to agree. The talks and vendors were fascinating, but many felt excessively self-promotional, loaded with buzzwords, and full of vague, grand promises. Granted, it is hard to explain the AI of cryopreservation in 30 minutes.
And how do you separate the hype from the reality? Because your field is saturated with hype.
Yeah, we try to only use data and scientific evidence. So we've tried to carve out something unique where everything I do, I'm trying to measure the biological age of a given organ or biological function. We apply the science and then we measure it again. Did it change or not? And so that's been the unique thing we've done, is tried to base it entirely on what the data says.
At this summit, there were more people with continuous glucose monitors, nasal strips on, and barefoot shoes than I had seen anywhere else. The conference attendees were generally kind, energetic, and seemed really fit.
What's your name and what brought you here?
Mike Bygrave, and I'm here because my wife and family want me to come. No, we're biohackers. And kind of started to follow Bryan a couple of years ago.
When you say that you're a biohacker, what do you do?
The stereotype stuff, so saunas, ice bath, and if you're like crazy like us, you might do like kettlebell snatch in the sauna or something like that. We wear wearables, so continuous glucose monitor, Whoop, and stuff like that, Apple for heart rate variability. In a former life, I was a lab researcher. We used ultrasound and MRI and stuff like that. Fast forward a decade, my wife has lumps in her breast. They're okay, they're fibroids. But at the time we didn't know, and I was like, let me get a handheld ultrasound, hooks up to a device like this, and we're gonna monitor. That's the biohacking mindset. Being able to measure things yourself before you have to see the doctor, and things that make sense. And amongst the community, somebody can educate you on something that you're not so good at. So it could be cooking and fermented foods. Why do we need sauerkraut? And is it easy to make?
Do you follow his blueprint protocol?
Some of it, because I developed my own kind of system of a lot of things. But the foundation is his.
We also met multiple people who happened to be plant-based.
My name is Lauren Costantini. I'm a PhD neuroscientist by training, and I was in the biotech world. And then my retirement job is I went back and got my nutrition certification. I went vegan, and now I'm a nutrition, fitness, and sleep coach. And I did the Blueprint 3-month clinical trial. So I was eating all this stuff for 3 months and took blood labs before and after. And some things improved, but being vegan, we're already optimized. It's a great program because it just makes everything easy. A longevity mix is not really tasty, but whatever, choke it down.
I love your guys' shirts. I'm Youngin.
I'm due. What I enjoyed was seeing that the blueprints had a lot of the things that I was looking for. A lot of the supplements that they have meet the ethical standards that I look for whenever I buy, any product. When we're talking about AI in the future, how superintelligence can help us, the most critical component that we have to think about is we claim to be the most intelligent species, the most powerful species on the planet. What do we do to the most vulnerable, the animals? We slaughter them, we exploit them, we harm them. And that's exactly what AI is learning from us.
My name is Stefan Angelo. I'm from Bulgaria. I'm vegan for 5 years.
How long have you been trying this protocol and what results have you seen?
I just started trying his protocol like a month ago, and so far everything is positive. Yeah, I really like all the products.
You take all the supplements as well?
Yeah, I take all the vitamins and longevity mix.
Naval Ravikant, a famed tech entrepreneur and investor, was a surprise guest.
What do you think that people in this room would benefit the most by working on to unleash the greatest speed of progress? If we're looking at anti-aging, of health and wellness.
Anti-aging, well, health and wellness. There's a lot of snake oil out there, a ton.
Wait a second.
I think the majority of what goes on in the health and wellness space is snake oil.
What do you think we could do as a community, the most powerful things we could band together on to make more systematic progress?
There is real interesting stuff happening in biohacking. There's stuff with peptides. You've all heard of Ozempic. There's insulin as a peptide that's working pretty well. There's stuff like follistatin, which I think, Bryan, you've talked about in the past. So there's up and coming stuff. I do think that the regulatory state doesn't like these things. It doesn't fit into their model of like $3 billion in an FDA-approved trial over 10 years. So we need to figure out how to get past that so we can have real anti-aging therapies. Stem cells and exosomes, there's stuff coming up there. 98% snake oil. So it's going to be pretty hard to sort out what's real and what's not. I think what we almost need is, and I've mentioned this to Bryan before, and I think this is part of what Don't Die is doing, is almost a private FDA that's run sensibly. Like for example, when you go to buy a car or a computer, you don't read reviews from the government. There's not a government rating agency that has to approve the cars and computers. I mean, they do for crash records and all that, but not overall in terms of quality. Yet when it comes to biology, medicine, and supplementation, everything that we take that's bioactive in our bodies goes to the FDA, and they just veto most of it. And it would be better that each person could decide based on their own circumstances, whether they're sick or they're old or young or how strong they're feeling, that they would be allowed to do some degree of experimentation, and we could rely upon a private FDA, starting with guinea pig number 1, and then rolling down from there.
Bryan kept emphasizing sleep as the most important thing for longevity. He had a 100% sleep score on Whoop for over 8 months, putting him in the top 1% of users. When one member of a panel confessed that she slept poorly, Bryan stopped the panel and asked the tech roast comedians to come up and talk to her. And then he came up and gave a lecture himself on the importance of sleep.
Here's the 5 habits for sleep. Start with your last meal of the day, 2 hours before you go to bed. And then go to 3, and then go to 4, and then go to 5, and just test out and see the earlier you eat in the day, the better your sleep is going to be. 2 is have a wind down routine. If your bedtime is at 10 p.m., at 9 p.m., screens are off, your nighttime mode is activated. So that means the moment you say, hey, I'm now in sleep mode, a thought's gonna come into your mind of, oh, I forgot to send an email to so-and-so, or oh, I need to do the following presentation, or I must have said something offensive to this person, they're probably mad at me. You need to say, thank you so much for that suggestion. We have all day tomorrow to address this. We will surely get to it. But you activate sleep mode because the problem is, if you ruminate in that last hour before you go to bed, when your head hits the pillow, you're gonna think about it all night long. So you wake up, you're gonna be thinking about all those problems, you can't go back to sleep. 3 is be mindful of light. So an hour or 2 before bedtime, it's best to lower the lights, have higher Kelvin light. I have a red light bulb I use in my house, so it's all red light. 4, stimulants. Caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours. That means that if you drink a cup of coffee, 180 milligrams, by the time you go to bed, you're still burning 90 milligrams if you don't do it far enough back. And then 5 is you reframe, you are a professional sleeper. So you don't sleep when you have time, you don't sleep when it's convenient, you don't sleep when it just feels right. You are a professional sleeper, and that is your #1 priority.
He also shared information on Blueprint's future goals to benefit people, and also shared some shocking information on just how contaminated most food is.
I did not know how dirty food is. It is terrifying how dirty it is. And I'll give you an example. We've been trying to do just add water lentils. We're sourcing lentils from all over the world, and we got these results back, but the heavy metals were just shockingly high. Why is it so high? And we got a response back from vendor, oh, it's high because we use human sludge to fertilize the lentils. And we said, do you have a non-human sludge option for your fertilization? We finally, after a year of sourcing all over the world, we finally have a just add water lentil product, but it took us an entire year. Some companies wouldn't even work with us because we said, here's our heavy metal standards. If you can't meet these, we can't work together, and they wouldn't even test their foods. They don't want to have the liability of doing that. We've since turned our attention to microplastics. We couldn't even find a lab to run the microplastics on our foods. We got one quote for one sample, $2,300. These processes, we're trying to roll it out at a mass market. Food is very dirty, and the way we're trying to solve it is we're trying to say Blueprint can provide you with every calorie. The second way we're trying to solve it is we're doing a certification business, Don't Die branded. So we're saying other companies that have great foods, they're going to have the same criteria for cleanliness of food, and they can have that logo, and you can be confident that they're doing the same kinds of clean sourcing that we are. So we're trying to clean up the entire ecosystem so that everyone can come in. It's very, very hard to build food to deal with a whole bunch of vendors. We're also starting a labs business, so we're going to be doing blood draws, DNA methylation for speed of aging. We just launched a microplastics array. So you can now measure microplastics in your blood. This is one of the first assays in the entire world to measure microplastics. Now, we don't have a solution for microplastics. So if you figure out your number, we don't just say like, do the following things. We're trying to build the world's largest data set of microplastics. It's like the first step of doing this. And then of course, we'll be doing some MRI. And so again, we will teach you how to do these things. Go out and work with anyone you want. We're gonna try to lay out the protocol. If you want to use Blueprint, great. If not, fine as well.
Bryan ended the summit by asking us to sleep well, exercise daily, and eat nutritious foods. He said by doing so, we can make healthy living the new normal in society.
So as we part, I want to first get a few commitments from every one of you. I'm gonna ask you to change your mindset that you are a professional sleeper. It is your #1 life priority. 2 to bed, same time every night, plus or minus 30 minutes. Who could do that? I need to see more hands. That is not enough. You are a professional sleeper. You will get no better gain than doing that. Number 2, exercise every single day. At least 30 minutes. Raise your hand. Every single day. And 3, once you get down, sleep, and then exercise, diet's next. But as a community, here's the power. If we do this together, we can flip the zeitgeist. Because right now, it's very hard to go to bed on time. It's very hard to exercise. It's very hard to eat well when no one else is doing it. But if we do it together, it's gonna be a lot easier. I believe don't die is what the 25th century would say to us. That we are at this moment, we are becoming something different, and it begins with the daily habits. So thank you everybody, be well.
At the summit after party, we enjoyed a delicious dinner that was mainly plant-based. That's where I finally got a hold of Bryan Johnson to interview him. Your team of 30 doctors and health experts, how did you pick them? What are their backgrounds in general?
We chose them according to their area of specialty. So if you're trying to find out the biological age of the heart, you need to measure all the functions of the heart. So you need a cardiologist in the team, MRI, ultrasound. And so we take specialties so we can do the bio age, and then we decide what therapies to look at and implement in the organ.
One of my friends really wanted to ask you about how you got your gum pockets to be less recessed from over 4 millimeters down. Because he follows your oral care routine, but he still has those gum pockets.
Yes, exactly. So a change in oral care won't necessarily rebuild the pocket or the attachment loss. So what we did, it's on my website, is we used Emdogain. So you open the pocket up, you put Emdogain in the pocket, and you pair that with PRP. And then you use a super glue that's good for the oral application, and you super glue it shut. And that regenerates the tissue growth. So we were able to take my 4 millimeter pockets and move them all to 2.
Wow, and did you have to find a special person to do this procedure for you?
My dentist. So I have a really cool dentist. We found the scientific evidence and we said, can we do this? And we just made it up.
Okay, and then mental health. So your Blueprint plan covers physical health a lot, but mental health is not as explicitly addressed. And I know you say, mental health follows from good physical health, but are there plans to incorporate more mental health measurements?
We have, yes. So the thing I found most powerful for mental health are the basics: sleep, diet, and exercise. A lot of people treat anxiety meds or depression meds as first line of defense without having sleep, diet, and exercise in place. The problem with that is those meds make those things harder. And so I really have tried to focus on master the basics of health and wellness. And then if you need things over and above that, then try to assess it, but try to get the basics right.
And last question. So the head of your team is Oliver, your doctor team, 29 years old.
We have several people.
It's not the main. Okay, so the article probably mischaracterized that. Okay, then the real last question is, I'm vegan, our channel talks a lot about plant-based diets. How do you see that we can popularize that in the future?
I am vegan. I do so because of an ethical preference. When you talk about diet and veganism or carnivore, it's a war zone. I don't think anyone's winning in the war. Everybody just wants to make their points. And so I do me, others do them. But really, I think the important thing is to measure biomarkers. So instead of talking about the level of the dietary protocol, like what are your markers? Like what's your cholesterol? What's your inflammation? How's your heart doing? So we really try to focus on the biomarkers.
All 3 Johnsons at the summit, grandpa, father, and son, were just incredibly down-to-earth and gracious and kind, genuine people. Bryan was absolutely mobbed by people all day from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And yet, he patiently spoke to every single person who wanted his attention, even when he really, really needed to get somewhere. And during his talks, when he prompted the audience to respond to his questions, he never interrupted anybody who rambled, obviously had a personal agenda to promote, or was denouncing science. This inaugural Don't Die Summit had its flaws, but the Johnsons all asked for feedback and are excited about improving it for the future. Alright, just how good is Bryan Johnson's longevity compared to others? The Rejuvenation Olympics, which ranks people according to their DunedinPACE score, helps us find out. This is Julie Gibson Clark, who in 2023 was number 2 on the Rejuvenation Olympics leaderboard with a pace of aging of 0.665. That was better than Bryan Johnson's score at the time. Julie spends just a little over $100 per month on her regime. Her biggest anti-aging expenditures are a $27 per month gym subscription and a $79 per month supplement subscription. She eats a vegetable-rich diet, exercises, and meditates for 20 minutes a day. Each day, she gets up around 5 a.m., having fasted for 16 hours overnight. She also uses a sauna and cold plunge about 3 times weekly. Julie doesn't consider anything she's doing a hack. She just calls herself health conscious. Her DunedinPACE score completely surprised her. Here's the current Rejuvenation Olympics leaderboard, where Bryan sits at number 5, if you're curious. It's no secret, Bryan Johnson gets mocked relentlessly online. Just try Googling his name.
How to be Okay, this is good. Probably my favorite one. Good job.
Before listening to his long-form interviews and content on his YouTube channels, I bought into a lot of the headlines. But now, I really do feel like most of media mischaracterizes him and his goals. At the summit, Bryan seemed more interested in bringing people together and exploring ideas than trying to push some personal brand. And while he advances the frontier of what tech, AI, and fancy treatments like gene therapies can do for longevity, he keeps going back to the basics of healthy sleep, diet, and exercise as the unshakable fundamentals for a healthy, long life. Bryan seems to have a genuine concern for people and the planet. He could have just retired off to some private island, enjoyed his privacy, and kept a lot of his doings more secretive, as many really, really rich people do. Instead, he spends his fortune to advance science, using his own body as a human guinea pig, enduring really uncomfortable frequent treatments and testing, and sharing all his results for free for people so that they can learn from it. Bryan is both a natural, healthy lifestyle advocate and an anti-aging tech pioneer whose ideas can't be conveyed appropriately by a soundbite or a clickbaity headline. And some people wonder, he may be physically healthy, but he must be miserable given his super strict lifestyle and 8 p.m. bedtime, right?
Are you happy?
Never more so in my entire life. I've never in my entire life been this alive.
I think we may be seeing just the beginning of a surge in the Don't Die movement. And as technology continues to advance and allows to increase our health spans, we're going to have to grapple with more and more questions about how to use it for good.